Are you pretending not to be highly sensitive? Are you pretending to not be so sensitive if you know that you are an HSP, a highly sensitive person, as the definition goes by Elaine? And we will definitely go over the 4 key things that define a highly sensitive person. But I just really want you to ask yourself, even if you don't know if you are an HSP, but you have noticed that you're sensitive to certain things, are there times where you're trying to ignore it? Are there times when you're just pushing through? Are there times where you wish you weren't? Are there times where you're just like, no, I am just going to do this. I'm going to stay up all night and study. I am going to go out, 5 nights a week because my friends are doing it and it's the cool thing to do. I am going to pretend that this is not going to be overwhelming or overstimulating for me because I don't want to seem weak in front of my boyfriend or my friends, Gosh, I notice that sometimes even today, after knowing that I am a highly sensitive, I notice it when I notice others performing at a incredibly high rate, right? Of even just like somebody packing their schedule, like, oh, I've got these 3 things today and those 4 things tomorrow and these 5 things the next day and this. And I'm just like, look at all the stuff they're getting done. Why am I not able to do this? Or can I just push through and can I do it so that I can be that productive? Am I doing enough? Right? I feel like these days that's such a big question. Am I doing enough? Instead of asking yourself 2 much more important questions. What is truly important to me in my life in this season right now? And does this feel good to me? Does this feel good in my body? Does this feel good in my spirit? Right? Hi, it's Christine, your emotion coach, and I figured today we'd talk about this concept of, are we pushing through sometimes and pretending not to be highly sensitive versus, I'll definitely tie it back in the end with resilience. Resilience is one of my favorite topics. Yes, there are definitely times when it is worth it, when it's good to challenge yourself, to push through, to show yourself everything that you're capable of. One of the first places where you can do it, and where I always suggest to my clients to do this, my coaching clients, is push yourself in the gym. Push yourself physically. If you've got your diet under control, if you have your gut under control, otherwise you'll likely pass out like I did a few times in the gym. But it is so incredible when you start pushing yourself physically in your body and you realize that your body is responding in the way that makes you feel stronger. Every time you come back to a workout, you can do more, you're stronger, you feel better. It gives you that innate knowing that I'm not weak. I can do this. I can grow. I can push heavy things. I can become more, right? I can rise up to the challenges in my life. So important. But where do we want to start, right? Because so many times we kind of go overboard with that. We kind of go into like push, and then we're just dead, right? Like, what happens if we ignore the signs that our body is getting tired, that our mind is getting overstimulated, that our nervous system is starting to be frazzled, right? Because everybody gets overloaded, everybody gets overstimulated, everybody gets into a spot where it's much, much harder to regulate their emotions, where they dip into anxiety, into fear, into overwhelm. However, as a highly sensitive and HSP, we get there much more quickly because we have that trait at our brain processes things much more deeply. Let's just go ahead and jump into it, right? What makes up a highly sensitive person? What are the 4 things that Elaine, the psychologist who coined the term highly sensitive person, she came up with 4 things to describe a highly sensitive person. This is all by test, right? She has a test with 30-something questions. Depending on how you answer this, you realize if you are highly sensitive or not. So the acronym is D.O.E.S. D stands for deeply processing. We process things deeply. We think about things deeply. Our brain takes in all the information that's around, right? Other people filter out a lot more. We have a broad spectrum. We take in so many more details than the average person, than non-highly sensitive people. However, that comes at a cost, right? If our brain is having to work overtime, if we're aware of so many more things, the second one is overstimulation, right? We tend to be overstimulated much more quickly than a non-highly sensitive person because our brain takes in so much more information. O can also stand for overwhelm, right? Overstimulation, overwhelm. We get into that pretty quickly, and it can just happen from one moment to the next. Like one moment you're good, the next moment everything's caving in on you, right? Can happen pretty quickly. The next one is E for emotional. Yes, emotional reactivity, right? Ooh, like I said, one moment you can feel good, you can feel high, you can feel like, oh, this is a good day, and then something can happen and you are flooded instantly with fear, or flooded instantly with anger, or flooded instantly with jealousy, or flooded instantly with feeling weak or out of place or embarrassed or ashamed, right? Oh my gosh, it can happen so fast, and we feel our emotions so incredibly intensely. Oh my gosh, it's just, before you learn this kind of work and that you can absolutely master your own emotions, before you learn that, you feel like, I have no control, and my emotions are so intense, so strong, and so pervasive, and so overtaking that it doesn't feel like I have any control of them. It feels like I am at their mercy. It feels like my emotions just sweep me away. There's this huge wave and they just sweep me along with them, right? Ooh, it is incredible once you learn that you always have control over your emotions, and it can be easier than you think. It's just not practiced, right? So it feels hard in the beginning, it feels impossible in the beginning, until you kind of get the basic principles down, and then it's all about practice and application. Awesome to practice that with your coach, or at least go download my guide, healingyouremotions.com/shift, in order to just get those 3 first steps down. 3 easy, quick steps, but so powerful, and how to shift your emotions. Yes, have that in your back pocket, right? So good. Last one from D.O.E.S, right? We talked about depth of processing, overstimulation, emotional reactivity, and then S is sensing the subtle stimuli, right? Once again, we are aware of the subtle, which can be amazing because that means we can read people easily. We can sense the mood of the room. We can sense what's going on with another person. We sense when somebody's lying to us. We sense when what other people need, right? It makes us incredibly caring and helpful to others. We're able to serve in a really, really big way. We kind of have this intuition about what others need and how we can make things better. As a mom, it's a great sense to have, but it also comes with the hard part of, we pick up everybody else's emotions, and before you know how to differentiate between yours and theirs and not getting swept up in their wave, it can be difficult, right? We need to learn how to set boundaries in order to own our own authentic truth and not get swept up in other people's emotions, right? It also comes with we can be very susceptible to gosh, the word is in my head and I can't think of it. What is it? when somebody is purposely trying to lead you astray, right? It's like we're sending something as off, but especially if we haven't done enough work around self-worth, we can be led astray by them, right? We can be easily influenced. We can be so many times, gosh, I see so many of my clients when I first begin to work with them, they get swept up in this, and it hurts my heart, but I totally know where it comes from, and I know where we can go from there. So often when we are tricked by other people, when we are gaslighting, that's the word I was thinking of, when we are being gaslighted by another person, we're so quick to agree with them and to find fault in ourselves, to find fault with who we are, right? Our self-worth tanks because this other person is going, you're unlovable. You made that mistake. It's on you. You're not showing up, right? You're doing this. And we so quickly are to jump to, oh, there is something wrong with me. Oh, I am broken. Oh, there is, I need to work on this. I need to do this. That can be the slippery slope that we go into because we have this sensing a subtle stimuli. So we notice that something is off with them, but since they're putting the blame on us, we're so quick to come back around and blame ourselves. It's a big, big, big one to work on, to become aware of, to do this wonderful work for, right? This introspective work for. Today, I'm hoping you're grabbing your journal every time you watch one of these videos and are here with me, right? If I'm doing it live, grab your journal. And today what we're talking about is, where are you pretending to not be so sensitive, right? Just a few weeks ago, I was having kind of a rough morning, and I was just like reacting all over the place with emotions. And I literally remember walking into the bathroom, looking at myself in the mirror going, why are you so sensitive? And I'm like, I laughed immediately, and that broke the spell, right? I was like, oh my gosh, here I go again, right? Yes, I'm sensitive. And that's okay. That's a beautiful thing. It just means right now I'm being flooded with a lot of emotions. That's okay. I know how to handle it. I know how to shift it. I know what the important message is here, right? Emotions are beautiful. Emotions tell us what is most significant in this moment. So now let's tie it back together. Where did I want to go with this? Yes, in your journal, write down, how are you pretending, right? How and when are you pretending not to be highly sensitive? And why are you doing it? Is it to not be embarrassed? Is it to not seem weak? Is it to seem cool to your friends? Is it to feel lovable, in front of your boyfriend? Is it so you can feel not so weak? Is it so you can feel you're keeping up with other people? Why are you pretending, and how are you pretending not to be so sensitive? And then go ahead and write down, right? How does high sensitivity come up for you, right? Is it sensitivity to like smells or sounds or lights or itchy clothing, or easily overwhelmed in a crowd of people, or gosh, I'm trying to think of another one. For me, it was always definitely my emotions, right? A big, big one was always my emotions of just like I said, feeling like I'm going along my day just fine, and something happens and it just like sets me off, right? Sometimes you have a difficult time with change, right? My older sister was always like, yeah, I knew if something was changing around the holidays, I needed to call you ahead of time to kind of give you a heads up of like how things are going to be. I'm like, yeah, I appreciate it, because I need that. Because if I show up expecting one thing and then it turns out way different, that can be a little bit hard, right? Sure, there are things we can do in order to expect the unexpected, right? If I'm walking in knowing that things might be a little different, yes, right? But it's like, how is it showing up for you? How is it challenging in your life? But please also write down, what is so beautiful in your life? What do you appreciate about your trait, right? I love that the beauty of nature, that I can just find incredible joy at a flower coming up from the ground, right? And just like feeling that strength and that resilience that this flower went through in order to emerge from this hard ground, right? Or a sunset or a sunrise, the beauty of a morning, how the wind rustles through the leaves, right? My cat looking at me and then meowing and coming over just to like cozy up next to me, right? Just like these beautiful moments, like connecting deeply with my child, having deep conversations with my boyfriend, right? It's like, what do you enjoy and appreciate about being highly sensitive? Because when you write those down and you realize how much this trait is gifting you with on a daily basis, then it's much easier to be okay with having to work a little harder to get your temper under control, to work a little harder to want to set these boundaries, to work a little harder to clear your schedule, to take more time for yourself for self-care, right? These days we feel like we're not keeping up because time is speeding up like crazy, but you know what? We have a more fine-tuned body that tells us much more quickly that we need to pause, that we need to stop, that we need to refuel, that we need to recharge. So hopefully we don't push ourselves into disease as easily as a non-highly sensitive person, because they're not listening to their body, because their body isn't screaming, right? There are so many beautiful things and beneficial things about being highly sensitive. So please write those down. Write down your challenges. Write down how you can begin to work on facing these challenges. And of course, if there's ever anything you need help with, post down below in the comments or email me directly. I always love knowing what's going on for you, what you're facing, and how I can help you specifically. All right? You have an amazing rest of your day. You're doing so incredibly well. Like I always say, this world needs more highly sensitives in their authentic truth and power, because we have so much beauty and creativity and vision to share with this world. But so many times we get stuck in being overwhelmed and stressed and depressed and anxious. Let's shift that. Let's show up in our authentic power as highly sensitive people and get this world into a much better place. All right? Let's do it together. I'll see you tomorrow.